Oh, Lordy. Well, Grimmy, you know what? It's just entirely too goofy. Oh, yay. Okay, I'm still using Sam's today because, well, yeah, pretty much what you taught me. It went in one ear and out the other because I had so damn much shit running around in my brain that, yeah. So I'm going to watch your little how to use your butt. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at that, and yeah, and then I will do a little refresher on the Spreaker and all that other fun shit. And then I'll possibly switch over from using Sam's into doing that. But until then, guess what, everybody? You are listening to Grammy's Rocket Chair here on RealLibertyMedia.com, Channel 3. Also on the RLMRadio.xyz site, the RLM Radio Internet radio station, and TuneIn radio station, and God knows where else. Also on Spreaker, because it looks like I'm streaming. Oh, Lord. And you know what? This is Mature Blonde with a little bit of Mermaid Blue. And, yeah, so I have to be retrained every once in a while. That was a kind of a dorky song, Chloe. Yes, it was. But it was Alan Parsons. And I don't want to live in the real world anymore. I am so tired of the real world because, it's full of Trumpelstiltskins and San Fran Pelosi's and all that other fun shit. So it's like, oh, good Lord. Do I really, really, really want to live with these people? I want to rule the world and use that butt. Oh, you know what, Grim? I got to tell you this. This is so freaking funny. At the bowling alley on Monday, as if bowling, yeah, it's like a hobby. Because I sure as hell couldn't do it professionally. In any case, at the bowling alley, one of the people that works there, Ted, had taken his mom out to Colorado, and he saw me as I was coming back Sunday. He saw me at the truck stop where I stopped at to fuel up and drain my radiator. And in any case, he said, I wasn't really sure it was you because at first I saw this person walking into the truck stop and I thought, that's got to be Mary. That's got to be Mary. And then later on, I saw this person walking out of the truck stop. Both times he saw me from the back and he goes, that's got to be Mary. So I'm thinking I used my butt. It's either that or there's just not that many crazy old ladies running around with blue hair in the back. I don't know. But I thought it was rather odd that Ted would go, I saw you. I think that was you. Were you there? Yeah, that was probably me. Oh, well, my weekend was fun. I did have fun with the grandbabies, although I did find out that there are real live mean girls. I did not know that at first, but yeah, there really are some real life mean girls, and I found that out from my granddaughter. They had a middle school dance, and we were supposed to go pick her up at 9, but we wound up going a little bit early, and when we got there was cop cars there, and it's like, what the hell's going on? Well, she explained to us that there was a little gal that was feeling a little on the depressed side. And there was a group of mean girls that were picking on her, and she said, well, I suppose that I should just go and kill myself then. And then they all started cheering her on and telling her to just go kill herself because she would be much better off, and so would they. And then she went in the bathroom and tried to kill herself. So, yeah, wow, middle school. Can you believe that shit? Oh, man, if I'd have known who them little girls were, we'd have been having a little come to Jesus meeting, let me tell you. And I hope to God those children's parents had a little talking with them. Although I'm thinking children that express those kinds of attitudes are not having really what I would classify as good parenting going on. So, yeah, I was not impressed at all with that nonsense. But other than that, got to go watch dance practice. Not that I'm a proud Grammy, but I'm a proud Grammy. My granddaughter is very good. And then I got to watch two little kids' basketball games, and that was ever so fun as well because my grandsons are pretty good. And my number one grandson, number two grandchild, was explaining the rules and, what the refs were doing and everything because I wasn't a basketball player. So, I played horse with my brothers, but other than that. So, in any case, he was very good at explaining all that fun stuff to me. Bless his heart. So, yeah, Grammy, bunch of little bitches is what they were. And there was also one at dance practice who I could tell, man, the aura when we walked in. You know how you can really you can feel them vibes? We walked in, and this little girl, little Barbie is what I call her. I have no idea what her name is, but I call her Little Barbie. 12, and she's a little Barbie. Yeah. And she took one look at my granddaughter, and then she looked at me, and then she got this little glint in her eye and that little grin. You know that grin? Yeah, that one. And she said, "So, are you dating anyone?" And I just kind of looked at her, and I looked at my granddaughter, and my granddaughter handled it quite well. She said, "I don't need a man. I don't need a boy." So I don't know if she did that just for Grammy or what, but my granddaughter's pretty quick on her feet anyway. And then the two little friends, the little bookends, all just kind of snickered and leaned in and did the little whispery shit. So yeah, I got to see Mean Girls up close and personal too. I have no idea if they were any involved in the other shit, but yeah, it's like, wow. I'm really glad I'm not raising children now, because I'd be having come to Jesus meetings with lots of parents, let me tell you. I don't put up with that shit. So, yeah, I can't believe kids are just really getting mean anymore. They didn't used to be. I mean, I grew up with, because, I was weird, and I still am. But, wow. Cheering you on to go kill yourself. That's like, wow, that's just totally messed in the head. In any case, yeah, it's whacked is what it is. And maybe, just maybe, this, this article that I saw the other day, and I actually read the whole article. It's one of those very few times where I actually read the article before I go live. But this one, and yeah, the more I read, the more I thought, oh yeah, I got to do this one. It's from theguardian.com from the 26th of this month. And Robert Mercer, the big data billionaire waging war on mainstream media. Now, the headline is what grabbed me, which is always, that's what headlines are intended to do. They're supposed to be grabbers, get your attention. And I have noticed that an awful lot of people that, when they see a headline, they just kind of go, I agree with that or I disagree with it, and then they go from there. They don't bother with reading the article. And this is a rather long article, but I'm going to make you suffer through it because I got a lot of shit I want to say while I'm reading this. So, just over a week ago, the Trumpelstiltskin gathered members of the world's press before him and told them they were liars. I missed that. Damn it. The press, honestly, is out of control, he said, and the public doesn't believe you anymore. CNN was described as very fake news, story after story is bad, and the BBC was another beauty. Which, okay, so far, I agree. That night, this author, Carol Cadwallader, however you say that. I think she's from the UK. In any case, that night she did two things. First, okay, what the hell? I don't have my little thingy so I can adjust the volume. In any case, Let's see. First, I typed Trump in the search box of Twitter. My feed was reporting that he was crazy. He's a lunatic. He's a raving madman. Well, okay, I don't disagree with any of those either, because anybody that wants to be POTUS, that seriously wants that job, has got to be frickin' off their nut, in my books. But that wasn't how it was played out elsewhere. The results produced a stream of "Go Donald" and "You show 'em." There were star-spangled banner emojis and thumbs-up emojis and clips of Trumpelstiltskin laying into the fake news MSM liars. Trump had spoken and his audience had heard him. Then I did what I've been doing for 2.5 months now. I Googled "mainstream media is," and there it was. Google's autocomplete suggestions were mainstream media is dead, dying, fake news, fake, finished. Is it dead? I wonder. Has fake news won? Are we now the fake news? I'm thinking those are all rhetorical questions, by the way. Is the mainstream media, we, us, I, dying? Once again, rhetorical question, because I know the answer to that, and I think y'all do too. I click Google's first suggested link, and it leads to a website called cnsnews.com and an article, "The Mainstream Media Are Dead." Someone needed to proofread that shit, because that's bad grammar. They're dead, I learned, because I cannot be trusted. Okay, once again, I do not disagree with that at all. How had it, an obscure site I'd never heard of, dominated Google's search algorithm on the topic? In the About Us tab, I learned CNS News is owned by the Media Research Center, which a click later I learn is America's media watchdog, an organization that claims an unwavering commitment to neutralizing left-wing bias in the news, media, and popular culture. Another couple of clicks and I discovered that it receives a large bulk of its funding, more than $10 million in the past decade, from a single source: the hedge fund billionaire Robert Mercer. Well, you know, the right wing's got to have their version of Soros, I guess. If you follow U.S. politics, you may recognize the name. Robert Mercer is the money behind Trumpelstiltskin. But then I will come to learn Robert Mercer is the money behind an awful lot of things. He was Trump's single biggest donor. Mercer started backing old Cruz, but when he fell out of the presidential race, he threw his money, $13.5 million of it, behind the Trumpelstiltskin campaign. It's money he's made as a result of his career as a brilliant but reclusive computer scientist. Much like Grammy, only Grammy doesn't have billions at his disposal. Or do you, Grim? He started his career at IBM, where he made what the Association of Computational Linguistics call revolutionary breakthroughs in language processing. It's a science that went on to be key in developing today's AI. And later, he became joint CEO of Renaissance Technologies, a hedge fund that makes its money by using algorithms to model and trade on the financial markets. Now, one of its funds, Medallion, which manages only its employees' money, is the most successful in the world, generating 55 billion with a B so far. And since 2000, Mercer has donated 45 million with an M to different political campaigns, all Republican, and another 50 million to nonprofits, all right-wing, ultra-conservative. This is a billionaire who is, as billionaires are wont, trying to reshape the world according to his personal beliefs. Well, jeepers, don't we all try to do that? It's just that we all don't have access to billions in monopoly money. Robert Mercer very rarely speaks in public and never to journalists. So, to gauge his beliefs, you have to look at where he channels his money. Follow the money, I agree with that. A series of yachts, well, duh, he's a billionaire, all called Sea Owl, which obviously, well, to me, means not that much of an imagination when it comes to naming things. A $2.9 million model train set, holy crap-a-noli, that's one hell of a model train set. Climate change denial, oh, wow, I don't have a problem with that. Apparently, he funds a climate change denial think tank, the Heartland Institute, and what is maybe the ultimate rich man's plaything, the disruption of the mainstream media. Oh, I like this guy. Okay, so far, I do. In this, he's helped by his close associate, Steve Bannon. I think that name rings a bell for a few of us, doesn't it? That's Trump's campaign manager and now chief strategist. The money he gives to the Media Research Center with its mission of correcting liberal bias is just one of his media plays. There are other bigger and even more deliberate strategies. And shining brightly, the star at the center of the Mercer media galaxy is Breitbart. It was $10 million of Mercer's money that enabled Bannon to fund Breitbart, a right-wing news site. Can you tell this child that's writing this has just a skosh of a left-wing bias? And the rest of us are sitting here in the middle going, would you stop your frickin' flapping already? Oh well, it was set up with the express intention of being a Huffington Post for the right. It has launched the careers of Milo Yiannopoulos and his like, regularly hosts anti-Semitic and Islamophobic views, and is currently being boycotted by more than 1,000 brands after an activist campaign. Well, cheapers, I wonder how many Soros-funded things are being boycotted. It has been phenomenally successful. It's the 29th most popular site in America with 2 billion page views a year. It's bigger than its inspiration, the Huffington Post. Bigger even than Pornhub. Holy shit! I've never been to Pornhub. Don't plan on going there either, but just saying, wow, bigger than Pornhub. Wow. It's the biggest political site on Facebook and the biggest on Twitter. Prominent right-wing journalist Andrew Breitbart, who founded the site but died in 2012, oh, that's a nice way of putting he was taken out, told Bannon that they had to take back the culture, which, okay, so I don't have a problem with that. I mean, you know, things go in cycles anyway, and it's like a pendulum swinging. You know, the left had it for a while, now it's swinging towards the right. I'm hoping to someday have that pendulum stop swinging and have it just stay right in the middle, where, you know, you might have a wee bit of common sense going on. That's my hope. Oh well, arguably, they have taken back the culture, though American culture is only the start of it. In 2014, Bannon launched Breitbart London, telling the New York Times it was specifically timed ahead of the UK's forthcoming election. It was, he said, the latest front in our current culture or cultural and political war. France and Germany are next. See? Everybody's got to have a goal. But there was another reason why I recognized Robert Mercer's name. Because of his connection to Cambridge Analytica. It's a small data analytics company, and he's reported to have $10 million stake in the company, which was spun out of the bigger British company called SCL Group. It specializes in election management strategies. Ah. Oh, wow. See, this is very pertinent then. I didn't know that. Thank you, Grammy. Oh, I do remember that because that was the day that he was supposed to release some very damning evidence on Dangleberry, and that never happened, did it? Yeah. Okay, let's see. So, it specializes in election management strategies and messaging and information operations, refined over 25 years in places like Afghanistan and Pakistan. In military circles, this is known as PSYOPs, or psychological operations, which is mass propaganda that works by acting on people's emotions. Are you starting to see why I'm getting into this article? I hope you do, because you will. If you don't now, you will get it here in just a little bit. Cambridge Analytica worked for the Trump campaign and, so I'd read, the Leave campaign. When Mercer supported Cruz, Cambridge Analytica worked with Cruz. When Mercer started supporting Trumpelstiltskin, Cambridge Analytica came too. And where Mercer's money is, Steve Bannon is usually close by. It was reported that until recently he had a seat on the board. Okay, and so you're calling them out for this shit, and this has been going on for eons. You're just telling us what we already knew, or at least some of us, those that listen to me, let's put it that way, already knew, and those that listen to an awful lot of other people that are way smarter than me. So, last December, I wrote about Cambridge Analytica in a piece about how Google's search results on certain subjects were being dominated by right-wing and extremist sites. Jonathan Albright, a professor of communications at Elon University, North Carolina, is that how you say that? Elon, or is it Elon? Who had mapped the news ecosystem and found millions of links between right-wing sites strangling the mainstream media. Oh, I love her verbiage. Told me that trackers from sites like Breitbart could also be used by companies like Cambridge Analytica to follow people around the web and then, via Facebook, target them with ads. On its website, Cambridge Analytica makes the astonishing boast that it has psychological profiles based on 5,000 separate pieces of data on 200 million American voters. Its USP is to use this data to understand people's deepest emotions and then target them accordingly. The system, according to Albright, amounted to a propaganda machine. A few weeks later, the Observer received a letter. Cambridge Analytica was not employed by the Leave campaign, it said. Cambridge Analytica is a U.S. company based in the U.S. It hasn't worked in British politics, which is how earlier this week I ended up in a pret-a-manger. Oh, is that how you say that? Manger? Near Westminster. Westminster. Yeah, there you go. That's how you say that. With Andy Wigmore. That's Leave EU's affable communications director. And I was looking at snapshots of the Trumples on his phone. It was Wigmore who orchestrated Nigel Farage's trip to Trumple's Tower, the PR coup that saw him become the first foreign politician to meet the president-elect. I don't know about anybody else, but Nigel Farage is frickin' funny. He just amuses the hell out. I don't necessarily always agree with, but he's amusing as hell. Wigmore scrolls through the snaps on his phone. That's the one I took, he says, pointing at the now globally famous photo of Farage and Trumples in front of his golden elevator door, giving the thumbs up sign. Wigmore was one of the bad boys of Brexit. That's a term that was coined by Aaron Banks, the Bristol-based businessman who was Leave.eu's co-founder. Now, Cambridge Analytica had worked for them, he said. It had taught them how to build profiles, how to target people, and how to scoop up masses of data from people's Facebook profiles. A video on YouTube shows one of Cambridge Analytica's and SCL's employees, Brittany Kaiser, sitting on the panel at Leave EU's launch event. Now, Fakeybook was the key to the entire campaign, Wigmore explained. A Facebook like, he said, was their most potent weapon. Because using artificial intelligence, as we did, tells you all sorts of things about that individual and how to convince them with what sort of advert. And you knew there would also be other people in their network who liked what they liked, so you could spread. And then you follow them. The computer never stops learning and never stops monitoring. It sounds kind of creepy. It's really creepy. It's why this individual is not on Facebook. I tried it on myself to see what information it had on me, and I was like, oh my God. What's scary is that my kids had put things on Instagram and it picked that up. It knew where my kids went to school. Are you seeing how this web is interconnected now? They hadn't employed Cambridge Analytica, he said. No actual money had changed hands. They were just happy to help. And why? Because Nigel is a good friend of Mercer's. And Robert Mercer introduced them to us. Here's this company that we think may be useful to you. What they were trying to do in the U.S. is what they were trying to do, and what they were trying to do had massive parallels. We shared a lot of information. Why wouldn't you? And behind Trumple's campaign and Cambridge Analytica, he said, were the same people. It's the same family. There were already a lot of questions swirling around Cambridge Analytica, and Andy Wigmore has opened up a whole lot more, such as, are you supposed to declare services in kind as some sort of donation? Well, the Electoral Commission says yes, if it was more than £7,500. And was it declared? Well, the Electoral Commission says no. So does that mean a foreign billionaire had possibly influenced the referendum without that influence being apparent? It's certainly a question worth asking. So, in the last month or so, articles in first the Swiss and the U.S. press have made exactly what Cambridge Analytica is doing with U.S. voters' data. In a statement to the Observer, the Information Commissioner's Office said any business collecting and using personal data in the UK must do so fairly and lawfully. We will be contacting Cambridge Analytica and asking questions to find out how the company is operating in the UK and whether the law is being followed. Now, note, they're going to be asking questions. I'm wondering if they're going to be sending this to committee first, because you know that's going to take a good 18 months to do that shit. Cambridge Analytica said last Friday that they are in touch with the ICO and are completely compliant with UK and EU data laws. Yeah. It did not answer other questions the Observer put to it this week about how it built its psychometric model, which owes its origins to the original research carried out by scientists at Cambridge University's Psychometric Center. And I got to tell you, when I first read that, it was like, oh my God, psychohistory. Was that Isaac Asimov or was that Heinlein that wrote about? I'm going to have to go and look. I was going to check that out and I totally spazzed it off. It's been a crazy week. I'm thinking it was Heinlein, but I'm not positive. I'll have to go and look. I have the books downstairs. In any case, this research is based on a personality quiz on Facebook that went viral. More than 6 million people ended up doing it, producing an astonishing treasure trove of data. These fakey book profiles, especially people's likes, could be correlated across millions of others to produce uncannily accurate results. Michael Kaczynski, the center's lead scientist, found that with knowledge of 150 likes, their model could predict someone's personality better than their spouse. With 300, it understood you better than yourself. Computers see us in a more robust way than we see ourselves, said Kaczynski. Are you starting to get a little on the freaked out side here? Huh. And by the way, if you're thinking about deleting your Facebook profile and all that other fun shit, that's like shutting all the farm animals in the barn as the barn is burning down. It's not going to do a damn bit of good. They already got the info on you. May as well have fun with it. But there are strict ethical regulations regarding what you can do with this data. So, did the SCL group have access to the university's model or data? You know, I'm thinking, and I know I've said this before, but they can really do some freaky ass shit, you know, and sharing this. And the universe, it sends information out to, you know, I don't think the universe ever sends, you know, an idea to just one person. You know, like just Tesla. Tesla wasn't the only one. Edgar Cayce wasn't the only one. You know, there's lots of people that they weren't the only ones that got certain ideas. They're just the only ones that actually acted on it and had something that they produced with it. And so I don't, you know, when you've got multiple people working in this field, I don't know that, whatever. You know, because to me this is like insinuating or implying that they had access to this data, and therefore, how do you know that they weren't working along the same lines? In any case, apparently this author asked the professor, Jonathan Rust, and he said, certainly not from us. We have very strict rules around this. So, a scientist, Alexandra Kogan, from the center was contracted to build a model for SCL, and says he collected his own data, which that doesn't surprise me. And it also would not surprise me if they did do a little talking back and forth. Just between friends, don't you know? The evidence was contrary, I've reported it. An independent adjudicator was appointed by the university. But then Kogan said he'd signed a non-disclosure agreement with SCL and he couldn't continue answering questions. So, you know what? How do you know? Can you really prove unless you can find that paper trail? Can you prove it? You got to dig awful deep for this shit. Now, Kogan disputes this and says that SCL satisfied the university's inquiries. But perhaps more than anyone, Professor Rust understands how the kind of information people freely give up to social media sites could be used. The danger of not having regulation around the sort of data that you can get from Fakeybook and elsewhere is clear. With this, a computer can actually do psychology. Doesn't surprise me. It can predict and potentially control human behavior. It's what the Scientologists try to do, but much more powerful. It's how you brainwash someone, and it's incredibly dangerous. And I noticed Gary L's been sharing stuff along these lines as well lately, and yeah, that's one of those things where I see synchronicity going on, because when I start digging into something, then all of a sudden I see it all over the place. And I don't know if that's because I'm just focusing in that area and therefore I'm seeing more of it, or if there actually is more of it out there and I'm just starting to notice it. I don't know. So, it's no exaggeration to say that minds can be changed. Behavior can be predicted and controlled. I find it incredibly scary because nobody has really followed through on the possible consequences of all this. People don't know what's happening to them, which I believe that shit. Their attitudes are being changed behind their backs. Maybe, just maybe, this is all just kind of playing on that fluoridation and mercury and all of the other heavy chemicals that are in our food and in our water, and yeah, glyphosate. Ugh. Mercer invested in Cambridge Analytica, the Washington Post reported, driven in part by an assessment that the right has lacking sophisticated technology capabilities. Well, yeah. But in many ways, it's what Cambridge Analytica's parent company does that raises even more questions. Emma Bryant, who is a propaganda specialist at the University of Sheffield, wrote about SCL Group in her 2015 book, Propaganda and Counterterrorism: Strategies for Global Change. Cambridge Analytica has the technological tools to affect behavioral and psychological change. But it's SCL that strategizes it. It has specialized at the highest level for NATO, for MOD, the United States State Department, and others in changing the behavior of large groups. And I know I have been reading stuff about this for years, that this shit's been going on, and yeah, none of this surprises me. It models mass populations and then it changes their beliefs. SCL was founded by someone called Nigel Oakes, who worked for Saatchi and Saatchi on Maggie Thatcher's image. And the company had been making money out of propaganda side of war on terrorism for a long period of time. There's different arms of SCL, but it's all about reach and the ability to change or to shape the discourse. They're trying to amplify particular political narratives, and they are selective in who they go for. They're not doing this for the left, which, hey, Soros has been doing this for years. So I think what would be cool is if we just sit back and go, okay, let's just sit back eat some popcorn, drink our adult beverages, and watch those two wings fight it out. Unfortunately, not too many people want to just do that. They want to get in the mix too. And I tend to get in there myself. So, in the course of the U.S. election, Cambridge Analytica amassed a database, as it claims on its website, of almost the entire U.S. voting population. 220 million people. Y'all were focusing on the NSA. And the Washington Post reported last week that SCL was increasing staffing at its Washington office and competing for lucrative new contracts with Trump's administration. It seems significant that the company involved in engineering a political outcome profits from what follows. Oh no, that doesn't surprise me at all. Halliburton comes to mind here, particularly if it's the manipulation and then resolution of fear. Yeah. Been going on for a while, peeps. You're just noticing it right now, sweetheart, because you're on the receiving end. They're not playing for your team. That's why you're noticing it. It's the database and what may happen to it that particularly exercises Paul Olivier Dehaye. Particularly exercises him? Wow. Okay. He's a Swiss mathematician and data activist who's been investigating Cambridge Analytica and SCL for more than a year. How's it going to be used, he says? Is it going to be used to try and manipulate people around domestic policies? I'm thinking, duh. Or to ferment conflict between different communities. Once again, duh. Is it potentially very scary? People just don't understand the power of this data and how it can be used against them. And I have to admit that quite possibly some of my opinions have been shaped by the shit they've been putting out there. I have to admit that. Because, I go with what goes along with my mindset. Just like everyone else does. Kind of a human nature thing. Oh, wait. That's what they're doing. Hey, they're pretty good at it. There's two things. Oh, night, Vinny. Rest well. Pleasant dreams, hon. There's two things potentially going on simultaneously. The manipulation of information on a mass level, which been going on for years, and the manipulation of information at a very individual level. And see, that's where the internet and social media sites come in, because people don't realize how much ammunition they're giving. Both are based on the latest understandings in science about how people work, and enabled by technological platforms built to bring us together. So they say. It's for your own good. So, are we living in a new era of propaganda? One we can't see, and that is working on us in ways we can't understand? Where we can only react emotionally to its messages? I think we all do that anyway on a daily basis to everything. We all, because we're human, we react. We act and we react, a lot of times emotionally. Definitely, the way that surveillance through technology is so pervasive, the collection and use of our data is so much more sophisticated. It's totally covert. I don't think. It's only covert if you didn't realize it beforehand. I knew it. And people don't realize what's going on, which, there's an awful lot of people that just flat out don't realize it. So, just a sec. I got to check something real quick here. Okay. Public mood and politics go through cycles. You don't have to subscribe to any conspiracy theory, Bryant says, to see that a mass change in public sentiment is happening, which some of that could very well be from this propaganda machine that's working. Some of it could very well be that people are just sick to their eyebrows of the bullshit they've been putting up with lately, or the bullshit that's been going on. Once again, it's that pendulum swinging. It is cyclical. Or that some of the tools in action are straight out of the military's or SCL's playbook. Well, that wouldn't surprise me either, because the military's been very good at this shit for quite a few years as well. Pearl Harbor comes to mind. But then there's increasing evidence that our public arenas, the social media sites where we post our holiday snaps or make comments about the news, are a new battlefield where international geopolitics is playing out in real time. It's a new age of propaganda. But whose? Here we go. Here's a fun part for you. This week, Russia announced that the formation of a new branch of the military, information warfare troops. I knew Russia was going to have to figure into this eventually, and yeah, when I first read this, it was like, oh yeah, and now we get down to it, Russia was involved. Sam Woolley of the Oxford Internet Institute's Computational Propaganda Institute tells me that 1/3 of all traffic on Twitter before the EU referendum was automated bots. Once again, I'm not surprised. These are accounts that are programmed to look like people, to act like people, and to change the conversation, to make topics trend. And they were all for leave. That's before the U.S. election. They were 5-1 in favor of Trumpelstiltskin. Oh, wait, and here you go. Guess what? Many of them were, dun dun dun, Russian. So last week, they have been in action in the Stoke by-election. Russian bots organized by who? Attacking Paul Nuttall. I would hate to have that for a last name. Nuttall. Or maybe it would be fun. You could have fun with that for a last name. Politics is war, said Bannon. And last year in the Wall Street Journal, and increasingly, this looks to be true. And you know what? I just realized I didn't say hey to anybody yet, so I'll do that when I get done with this. So, there's nothing accidental about Trump's behavior, according to Andy Wigmore. What that press conference was, it was absolutely brilliant. I could see exactly what he was doing. There's feedback going on constantly. And that's what you can do with artificial intelligence. You can measure every reaction to every word. He has a word room where they fix keywords. Why, yeah, it's casting spells, people. We did it. So with immigration, there are actually keywords within that subject matter which people are concerned about. So when you're going to make a speech, it's all about how you can use those trending words, casting spells. Wigmore met with Trump's team right at the start of the Leave campaign, and they said the Holy Grail was artificial intelligence. Excuse me. So, later, when Trump picked up Mercer and Cambridge Analytica, the game changed again. It's all about emotions, which, duh, that's how you get people by the feels. And this is the big difference with what they did. They called it biopsychosocial profiling. Psycho! It takes your physical, mental, and lifestyle attributes and works out how people work, how they react emotionally. Biopsychosocial profiling, I read later, is one offensive in what is called cognitive warfare. And since reading this article, I have really noticed, and once again, maybe it's just because I'm focusing there now, but I've really been noticing how things are popping up on timelines and shit like that. It's really quite fascinating. Though there are many others, recoding the mass consciousness to turn patriotism into collectivism, explains a NATO briefing document on countering Russian disinformation written by SCL employee. Time-sensitive professional use of media to propagate narratives, says one U.S. State Department white paper, of particular importance to PSYOP personnel may be publicly and commercially available data from social media platforms. And if you think you're safe somewhere else, you're not. Sorry, hun. Yet another details the power of cognitive causality and moral shock that has a disabling effect on empathy and higher processes such as moral reasoning and critical thinking. Something like immigration, perhaps, or fake news, or as it has now become, all caps, fake news. So how do you change the way a nation thinks? You start by creating a mainstream media to replace the existing one with a site such as Breitbart. You could set up other websites that displace mainstream media sources of news and information with your own definitions of concepts like liberal media bias and like, CNSnews.com does. And you could give the rump mainstream media papers like failing New York Times, give them stories like, because the third prong of Mercer and Bannon's media empire is the Government Accountability Institute. Bannon co-founded it with $2 million of Mercer's money. Mercer's daughter, Rebecca, was appointed to the board. Then they invested in expensive, long-term investigative journalism. The modern economics of the newsroom don't support big investigative reporting staffs, Bannon told Forbes. You wouldn't get a Watergate, a Pentagon Papers, not today, because nobody can afford to let a reporter spend 7 months on a story. But we can. We're working as a support function. Are you starting to get the willies yet? So welcome to the future of journalism in an age of platform capitalism. News organizations have to do a better job of creating new financial models. But in the gaps in between, a determined plutocrat and a brilliant media strategist can and have found a way to mold journalism to their own ends, which I think they probably watched Soros. Just saying, putting that out there. In 2015, Bannon described to Forbes how GAI operated, and employing a data scientist to trawl the dark web. In an article, he boasts to having access to 1.3 billion worth of supercomputers to dig up the kind of source material Google can't find. One result has been a New York Times bestseller, Clinton Cash, The Untold Story of How and Why Foreign Governments and Businesses Helped Make Bill and Hillary Rich. written by GAI's president Peter Schweitzer, and later turned into a film produced by Rebecca Mercer and Steve Bannon. Are you connecting the dots here? It's Bannon explained is how you weaponize the narrative you want with hard researched facts. With those, you can launch it straight to the front page of the New York Times, as the story of Hillary Clinton's cash did. Like Hillary's emails, it turned the news agenda, and most crucially, it diverted the attention of the news cycle. Another classic psyops approach. It's called strategic drowning of other messages. And it's been used for years. This is nothing new, darling. This is a strategic, long-term, and really quite brilliant play. In the 1990s, Bannon explained that conservative media couldn't take Bill Clinton down because they wound up talking to themselves in an echo chamber, which is pretty much what a lot of liberals are doing right now. And as it turns out, and that's the next sentence, the liberal media is doing that now. We're scattered, separate, squabbling amongst ourselves, and being picked off like targets in a shooting gallery. Increasingly, there's a sense that we're talking to ourselves. And whether it's Mercer's millions or other factors, Jonathan Albright's map of the news and information ecosystem shows how right-wing sites are dominating sites like YouTube and Google, bound tightly together, millions of links. Once again, it's the pendulum swing. You're only complaining because it's swinging away from you. So, is there a central intelligence to this? Well, there has to be. There has to be some kind of coordination. You can see from looking at the map, from the architecture of the system, that this is not accidental. It's clearly being led by money and politics. There's been a lot of talk in the echo chamber about Bannon in the last few months, but it's Mercer who provided the money to remake parts of the media landscape. And while Bannon understands the media, Mercer understands big data. He understands the structure of the internet. He knows how algorithms work. Robert Mercer didn't respond to requests for comment on this piece. And Nick Patterson, who's a British cryptographer who worked at Renaissance Technologies in the 1980s and is now a computational geneticist at MIT, described to me how he was one who talent spotted Mercer. There was an elite group working at IBM in the 1980s during speech research, speech recognition. And when I joined Renaissance, I judged that the mathematics we're trying to apply to financial markets were very similar. He describes Mercer as very, very conservative, unlike Soros, or maybe just like Soros, only different. He truly did not like the Clintons. He thought Bill Clinton was a criminal. Gotta agree with him on that one. And his basic politics was that he's a right-wing libertarian. He wants the government out of things. Once again, I can't disagree with that. I like that. He suspects that Mercer is bringing the brilliant computational skills he brought to finance to bear on another very different sphere. We make mathematical models of the financial market, which are probability models. And from those, we try to make predictions. What I suspect Cambridge Analytica doing is that they build probability models of how people vote. And then they look at what they can do to influence that. It's called PR marketing firms. They've been doing that for years as well. So finding the edge is what quants do. Thank you, Frumpy. I truly appreciate that, dropping me some essential oils for that extended stay. You're so sweet. So, how much more do I have of this? It's almost done. Almost done. I do want you to see this, though, because it's really, I mean, all these dots are getting connected. So, at least I saw a lot of dots getting connected with this. Whether she's left bent or right bent, there's definitely dots needing to be connected. Let's see. So, okay. They build quantitative models that automate the process of buying and selling shares, and then they chase tiny gaps in knowledge to create huge wins. Renaissance Technologies was one of the first hedge funds to invest in AI. But what it does with it, how it's been programmed to do it, is completely unknown. It is, Bloomberg reports, the blackest box in finance, which I think is a racist comment right there. Johan Bolin, who is an associate professor at Indiana University School of Informatics, wow, they make up as many words as I do, and computing, tells me how he discovered one possible edge. He's done research that shows that you can predict stock market moves from Twitter. You can measure public sentiment and then model it. Society is driven by emotions, which has always been difficult to measure collectively. But there's now programs that can read text and measure it and give us a window into those collective emotions. The research caused a huge ripple among two different constituencies. We had a lot of attention from hedge funds. They're looking for signals everywhere, and this is a hugely interesting signal. My impression is hedge funds do have these algorithms that are scanning social feeds. The flash crashes we've had, sudden huge drop in stock prices, indicates these algorithms are being used at a large scale, and they're engaged in something of an arms race. The other people interested in Bolin's work are those who want not only to measure public sentiment, but to change it. Are you hearing the evil scientist laugh in the background? I know I am. Bolin's research shows how it's possible. You could reverse engineer the national or even global mood, model it, and then change it. It does seem possible, and it does worry me. There's quite a few pieces of research that show if you repeat something often enough, people start involuntarily to believe it. Wow, I'm thinking that there was somebody in the Nazi regime that did that shit. Who was? I'll think of it. I know who it was, but yeah, play along here, peeps. And that could be leveraged or weaponized for propaganda. Been doing it for years. We know there are thousands of automated bots out there that are trying to do just that. The war of the bots is one of the wilder and weirder aspects of the elections of 2016. At the Oxford Internet Institute's Unit for Computational Propaganda, its director, Phil Howard, and director of research, Sam Woolley, show me all the ways public opinion can be massaged and manipulated. But is there a smoking gun? Evidence of who is doing this? Well, yeah, there is. Oh, but this article says there's not a smoking gun, according to Howard. There's smoking machine guns. And there are multiple pieces of evidence, and it's going on from both sides, and we're stuck in the middle. So look at this, he says, and shows me how before the U.S. elections, hundreds upon hundreds of websites set up to blast out just a few links, articles that were all pro-Trumples. What's that, Frumpy? Rothschild have been social engineering us for hundreds of years? Yeah, that's true, Frumpy. They have been doing it for, I would venture to say, eons. I really would. There are people that know how the human psyche works, and they have been using it. So, okay, oh, they're worried about these pro-Trump articles. So, this is being done by people who understand information structure, who are bulk buying domain names and then using automation to blast out a certain message, to make Trump look like he's a consensus, which if any of you have read Breitbart's book, he says in there that that is how you have to get the narrative back, because that's what they've been doing since the 1920s, at least. That was as far back as he had actual documentation to prove that they'd been doing stuff. So, you know, they've been doing it for a long time. It's just now the other side has figured out how to do it too. So it's going to get real interesting. I keep saying that. We have been cursed to live in interesting times. Or blessed. I don't know. Depends on the outcome. And I think the outcome depends on each and every one of us. Apparently all of this requires money, which is why Soros has been so good at it. And now Soros has an arch nemesis. Could be interesting. It requires organization and money. And if you use enough of them, of bots and people, and cleverly link them together, you are what's legitimate. You are creating truth. Been saying that for a while now. You can take an existing trending topic such as fake news and then weaponize it. I think they started with that one. I got to put that out there. I think they started it by calling those of us that don't swallow their bullshit fake newsers. So, you know, you start slinging shit, it's bound to come slinging back at you. Just saying. You can turn it against the very media that uncovered it. No, it's the very media that created it. Viewed in a certain light, fake news is a suicide bomb at the heart of our information system, which, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And it's strapped to the live body of us, the mainstream media. Yes, it is. One of the things that concerns Howard most is the hundreds of thousands of sleeper bots that they've found. Twitter accounts that have tweeted only once or twice and are now sitting quietly, waiting for a trigger. Some sort of crisis where they will rise up and come together to drown out all other sources of information, like zombies. And many of the techniques were refined in dun 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 Russia. They just have to keep throwing Russia in there for some reason. He says this and then exported elsewhere. Oh, well, cool, Russia's involved. Russia did it. So you have these incredible propaganda tools developed in an algorithmic regime, moving into the free market economy with a complete regulatory vacuum. What you get is a firestorm. That's what we've had for like the last 20 years, hun. At least the last 20 years. So this is a world we enter every day. On our laptops and on our smartphones. It's become a battleground where the ambitions of nation states and ideologues are being fought. And they're using us. Pawns. We are the bounty. We are the bounty you see out of the corner of your eye. Our social media feeds, our conversations, our hearts and minds, our votes. Bots influence trending topics, and trending topics have a powerful effect on algorithms. Twitter, Google, Facebook know how to manipulate information structure, and you can manipulate reality. We're not quite the alternative reality where the actual news has become fake news. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, honey. Gotta tell you, you are. But we're almost there. Out on Twitter, the new transnational battleground for the future. Someone I follow tweets a quote by Marshall McLuhan, the great information theorist of the 60s. World War III will be a guerrilla information war with no divisions between military and civilian participation. By that definition, we are already there. So those of you that are waiting for World War III to start, darling, it's already going on. So, I had to get this out there before I got sidetracked by anything else. I had to get this out here because, wow. Oh, you need some fresh rosemary? I'm going to grow rosemary. I'm so excited about that. So, now that I've gotten that out there, and now that I'm an hour and 15 minutes into it, hi everyone! Uh-oh, somebody broke the... Grammy, you broke your internet? I hate when that happens. Damn it all. Okay, I need a drink because, wow, all that reading and shit. So, now I'm going to say hey to everybody. Let me go peek over on the corner pocket real quick just to see if there's anybody hanging around in there. Grimmy, I see, joined over here. I see Microfracture has joined as well. And is Nelson Dubois? Oh. Hi, Nelson. And then Grimmy just pinged out. Over on this Freedom Network, Grimmy is over here as well as Cowboy Tech. Let me see who else is here. Miri B is over here, and I know Miri B was over on Fakey Book earlier. Hey there, sweetheart, how you doing? I also see Bob Renner is over here, and Fuking Tom is here over on this Freedom's Network site. Let me take a quick peek over here on Fakey Book, see who's hanging around over here. Vinny, I will say hi and bye to you again, sweetheart. I know that you were here and you had to go off to bed. I understand, sweetie. You know, sometimes when it's nappy time, it's nappy time. Hey, looky there. Lady Jade is here, as well as Mark Simser. Hi, you guys. How you doing? And Valerie, I see you, Valerie, and Mary B over here on Fakey Book. And Anil, hi, darling. How are you doing? I hope you're doing absolutely awesome. I'm a little late in saying my hey there, hi there, ho there's, but there you go. I also see Ian. Hi, Ian. How are you doing, sweetheart? Why is it said that a bad comedian laughs at their own jokes? Surely it's kind of essential. Otherwise, how would you know if something is funny or not? Okay, thanks, Ian. I laugh at myself all the time because sometimes it's like, wow, did I really say that out loud? Yes, I did. What? Women get a little weird when you criticize their cooking. That does, you know what? I never got weird when someone criticized my cooking, but I would say if you don't like what I feed you, there's the stove, there's the pans, clean up after your own sorry ass. Which is pretty much my mentality. Okay, over here in the RLM, which is where you need to be. I don't know. I went off on a tangent this already so early in the show. Imagine that. Asmo right up top, my missionary man, as well as the most awesome and splendiferous bot in the whole wide world. Hey there, Barman. Thank you for tweeting me over there on that Twitter. Barman's a bot on Twitter. And you know what? I probably make about as many comments on Twitter as those bots that they were talking about in that article that I did. And you know what? Maybe they think I'm a bot. Maybe I am a bot. I don't know. Bot, 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 bot. I also see the lovely Beth Z is over here, as well as Grimmy. How you doing, Grim? And the lovely Kate is here as well. Chalcedony is in the chat, and a double dipping a Chloe, as well as Frumpy. Hey there, Frumpy. How you doing? I'm here, kind of, sort of, little late, but I'm still here. IB Don C is here as well. Java Doctor 2 is logged in, but I think he's away right now. P. Bunyan is here, and P. Bunyan said that if I ever rule the world, he will come to my isolated island and rub my feet for me every day. But I have to be supreme ruler of the world, which if I ever became supreme ruler of the world, not that I want it, but if I ever became supreme ruler, okay, maybe I should say when I become supreme ruler of the world, my first edict will be, worry about yourself and clean up after yourself. I'm out of here. Until you clean up your own damn mess, I'm going to go to my private island. I'm going to kick back. I might even wear a bikini. Or maybe not. Well, it's a secluded island, so I think I'd get away with wearing a bikini. But I'll just kick back on the beach, have sand between my toes, enjoying myself. Give me a call after you clean up after yourself. By the way, I don't plan on having phone services on my island, so tough patooties, you're on your own. That's pretty much the way I would rule the world. You're on your own. So, where was I? Oh yeah, Rob Works, who fired up the bubbler earlier. Thank you, Rob Works, for firing up that bubbler. I also see Trust No One is in the house, and Phantom. How are you doing, Phantom? You said you were going to call me last Wednesday and you didn't call me. Shamey, shamey, shamey. You and I are going to have a little chit-chat. I also see Dakota is in the house, as well as Holy Jehovah 1. And looky there, JJ's 999. JJ's is in the house. Sweetie, how you doing? I hope you're having fun trying to cut back my shows. Because, wow, trying to find dead air that's longer than like 10 seconds is like... Oh, Chloe says no bikini is necessary. Oh, no, sweetheart, no. I would, because there's certain parts of my anatomy that I really don't care to get sunburned again. I did once when I was younger at a hot springs out in Colorado. And, yeah, there are certain parts of the anatomy that it's really, really rather... not socially acceptable to scratch those areas in public, especially when they're peeling. That was way back in my younger days. Woo. Yeah, I got fried. Wow. I'm just thinking about it. Hi, Wanna Taco. How you doing, sweetheart? Oh. Tan lines, I do, you know, and see, that's the cool thing. I do like tan lines because then I can go, oh, hey, I do have color. Other than my tats. In any case, where was I? Juana Taco. Excuse me, I got myself all choked up. Okay, I also see Kozu is in the house. How you doing, Kozu? And the lovely Miri B is here. I also see Bot and Mr. Snick. Hi, Mr. Snick. You're away right now. So is Nenson de Bois and North Force. Nenson de Bois. That's such a fun name. I love that name. I also see the lovely Rain. Hi, Rain. Rain, why don't you come visit me? And maybe some actual Rain will come visit as well, because we're really, you could come visit anyway, because I have puppy dogs that would just love you, and I have kitty cats that would sleep on you, and I also have a bunny rabbit that would go, hi, will you feed me? Because that's about the only time she's sociable is when you feed her. Sock Puppet! How you doing, Sock? I know you said I could get away with not wearing a bikini, but wow. Did I tell you I'm past 50? I don't know about that shit. Okay, Okay, Scientist Say is in the house. Hi there, Scientist Say, as well as Stats Bob, Tip Bob, and to round out the crew, Bill _ is here. You know, the problem with living on a secluded island? Who's gonna bring me my beverages? And if I go sans bikini, who's gonna wanna bring my beverages? That's the other question right there. Just saying. So... You know, wow, I'm going to have to perfect my mental Etch-a-Sketch. Oh. Frumpy, I like that. He says, I hear you get easily offended on Fakey Book, so I'm writing a prescription for 2 testicles. I like that, Frumpy. That's hilarious. Oh. Okay, let me see what else is going on over here on Fakey Book really quickie. Did you know? If you don't, I'm just going to tell you. I would give up sarcasm, but if I did, that would leave only interpretive dance as my only means of communication, or hand signals, which I am very good at hand signals. And facial expressions. Facial expressions are also another thing that I'm very good at. People, that's why I totally suck at lying, because my face gives me away. It's like, really? Seriously? Oh, honey, that's beautiful. No, I just can't do it. It's like, yeah, right. Okay. Oh, and here's one other one I got to go. This is from God, by the way. God shared this over on Fakey Book. Reading the political internet comments makes me want to flood the planet and kill you all again. Oh, God, you're such a kidder. You're a funny fella. That's all there is to it. Jehovah One, don't be smiting me now, okay? I truly appreciate it if you don't be smiting me. Okay, I'm going to go over and check out the pig, because did you know that today is the pig's birthday? Happy birthday to the boys over in the pig, politically incorrect gazette.com. It is 13 years old. It is officially a teenager. Therefore, I am going to keep them at arm's length, because you know how teenage boys are. And if you don't, just go over to the pig and you'll understand really quick. The word of the day over on Pig is bureaucracy. It's a nanny state cabal comprised of job-for-life cretins whose only function is making sovereign individuals as miserable as possible. I'm thinking that's a definition that Hambo came up with. Hambo's such a snarky little fart. In their quotable quotes section, we have the right as individuals to give away as much of our own money as we please in charity. But as members of Congress, we have no right to appropriate $1 of the public money. That's Congressman Davy Crockett. They don't make them like that anymore. Today's question: am I hellbound for thinking Trump hottie bikinder? Only if you want Trumples to pose in one of them Speedo things. Wow. Please. No. God. Just that mental image is just traumatizing as hell for me. Wow. just, it's like everybody is always so afraid of sharks. And sharks are so horrid and they're always attacking people in the ocean. Okay, look at it like this. If someone just jumped into your house in a Speedo, what would you do? I mean, seriously. Jeez. Can you blame them? Oh well. And now, for this date in history, March the 1st. Yeah. Oh, you guys got it here too. March the 1st, 2004, Correctniks stray into the bullseye when cyberspace makes room for a brash new internet publication. Pig. A blatantly incorrect endeavor that carves its name on an information superhighway speed. Yes, it does. So be very afraid, because today it is a teenager. It is 13. Yoinks! So, if you don't know, come on over to pigazette.com and say hey to Hambo and Porcus, those two wild and crazy guys. And you know what? I think I've been hanging out over on the Pig for, golly, 7 or 8 years now. Something like that. At least that long. My little sis got me started. Okay. There was something else that I saw on Facebook, and it's probably way, way, way lost. That I was going to share this evening because it was just freaking funny. But instead, I'll go over to my pocket because I have one here from Florida. And I'm trying to think who shared this one. Someone, I'm thinking, I don't remember if it was in the corner pocket.
That woman heartbroken over the theft of a beloved monkey.
Up, woman.
And although the alleged animal bandit was
auto start. Damn it. Live radio. Damn it. Okay. A Homestead man is facing grand theft charge after he allegedly stole and sold a neighbor's pet monkey. Oscar Leva, 21-year-old, was arrested Sunday night and booked into the Miami-Dade jail, where he is being held on $5,000 bond Monday. Attorney information for him was not available. Rascal? You little rascal. By the way, if you didn't know, this is in Florida, because it's Miami-Dade. Don't you know? Officers responded to a neighborhood in the 400 block of Southeast 8th Street after the monkey's owner, Vanessa De Gennaro, reported it missing. De Gennaro said that she was cleaning her home and had left the monkey Zoe in her backyard. When she went to check on her, the monkey was missing. "She's my baby. She's my kid. She goes everywhere with me. I love her to death," she said. She said that she'd posted flyers in the area and received a call from a witness who told her the monkey, a white-tufted marmoset valued at $2,900, was at his home, or at Leva's home, and officers found him. And he said that the monkey was in his kitchen and he thought it was a rat, so he caught it. He said he realized it was a monkey, so he put it in a cage in his room. He said that the monkey climbed on his shoulder and he tried to grab it, but it tried to bite him, the report said. And he said he fell asleep and the monkey ran away. But a witness said that Leva told him that he had stolen the monkey and sold it for $900. The suspect's mother believes he's innocent. "Ah, not my little boy. He's such a good little boy." I'm surprised that there are people out there that are evil on one hand, and also people that are good that say, "Hey, this is where she is." She said that she was worried about Zoe's safety and was offering a $2,000 reward for her return. She's a very delicate animal on top of everything, and she's not like a dog that you can leave alone. They get into things. They hurt themselves really easily. You have to watch them. Well, sweetheart, if you have to watch them, why did you leave her unattended outside? That's my question. It's sad, though, that someone... If you do. What's that, sock puppet? Oh, Homestead is a long way from... okay. What's that, Chloe? Looking for a secluded island. I don't know. You find out how much the Bahamas would take for Bimini, and you and I, maybe we... Hey, if I win Powerball tonight, take it, don't I? Shit! I don't think he did, Sock. I don't think the I don't think he was into monkey nibbles. Okay, I'm going to go back to my pocket. Because there's a couple other things that I wanted to... Where is that? Is it the Barely Innocent Kid's Voice? Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one that was over on Corner Pocket that I believe Sock had said something about. I'll bet you Grammy could have fun with that one. So, as soon as I saw that and saw your comment, I thought, okay, in the pocket it goes, and we'll see what it is. Because that's about as far, because then the phone rang and I got busy, and yeah. So from SputnikNews.com, Barely Innocent. Kids' voice recordings leaked in creepy Lot Teddy hack? That's a freaking creepy looking bear. We got a Teddy Ruckle. Well, we didn't. My daughters got a Teddy Rucklepin. That's what they called it. Teddy Rucklepin for Christmas from their grandparents. And it was way cool when we first got it and during the light of day. But at nighttime, because they wanted to try having Teddy Rucklepin read them a night story, and it just totally freaked them out. Teddy couldn't stay in their room. It just creeped them out. So, darn it all, I had to go back to reading night stories, and so did their dad. Which I excel at reading Dr. Seuss, by the way. Oh well. A series of web-connected, app-enabled toys called Cloud Pets have been hacked, exposing 800,000 user accounts and voice messages left by children. Ooh, that is kind of creepy. Since December 25th, 2016 until the first week of January 2017, Spiral Toys left customer data of its Cloud Pets brand on a database that wasn't firewall protected. Oh, wasn't that special? And a result, hackers were able to obtain the information, locked it, and held it for ransom. Why? Because they're assholes. That's why. Asshole! So, Cloud Pets allowed parents to record a message for their children on their phones, which then arrived on the Bluetooth-connected stuffed toy and is played back. Kids can squeeze the stuffed animal's paw to record a message of their own, which is sent back to the phone app. The data was found on MongoDB, a free and open-source cross-platform document-oriented database program, and because the information was unprotected. Okay. So as a result of the breach, more than 800,000 emails and passwords were exposed. Oh, that's not cool. And the time during which the data was exposed, there were at least 2 security researchers that enabled malicious hackers to get hold of it. In fact, at the beginning of January, several cybercriminals were actively scanning the internet for exposed MongoDB's databases to delete their data and hold it for ransom. Ah! Yes, that's me going boing boing because, yeah, I'll tend to that. Yeah. So, how exactly did this happen? The central database for CloudPet's voice messages and user info was stored on a public-facing MongoDB server, which was easy to hack into as the security protecting the passwords and usernames was very basic. Wow. The same database apparently connected to a stored voice messages that could be received by the apps and toys. Excuse me. Easy access and poor password requirements may have resulted in unauthorized access to a large number of accounts. The database was finally removed from the server in January, but not before demands for ransom were left. That's just lower than whale shit, by the way. In case you're wondering my opinion on that shit. And whale shit's at the bottom of the ocean, so you gotta go pretty frickin' low to get lower than whale shit. The toys, which are internet connected and known as the Internet of Things or IoT devices, were open to security breaches as the data itself was easily hackable. According to tech experts, if you are a parent who doesn't want your messages with your kids leaked online, you might want to buy a good old-fashioned teddy bear that doesn't connect to a remote insecure server. You think? This is a major security breach. However, according to some, it only goes to show how the IoT is a real and present danger. Okay, it is just an in-your-face example of the real and present danger that is out there. Period. Once you put something on the internet, I don't give a shit how fast you hit that delete button. Once it's out there, it's out there. Forever. Period. You know, it's kind of like Beth has been chuckling over lately. All those women in the vajayjay hats. Those ever so styling, ever so tacky vajayjay hats. You know, when they become, okay, they probably won't become Grammys. Because I'm thinking in their later years, maybe when they're sitting in a nursing home and someone pulls up those ever so styling pictures, I wonder if they'll be embarrassed, or if they'll still be militant wrinkly vajayjay wearers. I don't know. But wow. You know, you put that shit out there, it's out there. It's out there. The police authorities in the U.S. warned consumers that internet-connected devices, from medical devices to security systems, can be potential targets for malicious cyber criminals. You think? I'm thinking there's not any can be about it. They are. Work under the assumption that they are. Security experts believe the tech industry needs to figure out how to secure the IoT now, while the architecture is still being developed. That means building in features such as an encryption, authentication, and the ability to remotely update devices now. Which I'm thinking, why are you focusing just on this? Microshaft has all kinds of backdoors intentionally built in. Troy Hunt, who is a computer security breach expert who runs Have I Been Pawned? Blue Waffles hat by then. And the guys in the vajayjay suits, man. Well, you know, that's probably the only time they ever get inside one. Attention Kmart shoppers. Grammy's going, ding. Back to this story. See, now I'm laughing at my own joke. Oopsie. Oh, well. Let's see. Oh, okay. Troy Hunt. Thank God his name isn't Mike. Oh, apparently Troy Hunt, who was first tipped off about the lack of security when it comes to Cloud Pet toys, said that it only takes one mistake. Yeah, it only takes one time. You know, it's like the ex always said, I was just poking fun. You were the one that took me seriously, which, yeah, only takes that one time. Oh, this just in. What's just in? From Natural News? Ah. Oh, thanks. Oh, that's just another version of it, isn't it? Okay. Thank you, Sock. Okay, it only takes one little mistake on behalf of the data custodian, and every single piece of data they hold on you and your family can be in the public domain in mere minutes. I'm thinking mere seconds, not minutes. I'm thinking seconds. If you're fine with your kids' recordings ending up in unexpected places, then so be it. But that's the assumption you have to work on, because there's a very real chance it'll happen. The danger of the IoT, according to some tech experts, is no child's play. And cybersecurity experts are calling on governments to try and make it more secure. Oh, great. Great. Like we need government involved in that as well. Do you not understand? Every time government sticks its grubby little fingers into something, you get more of it? Have you not seen that correlation? Keep the freaking government out of it. If you don't want your personal information out there, if you don't want some creeper magoo jacking off to listening to your kids sending a loving message back to you, then don't play. It's pretty much that simple. And yes, there are creeper magoos out there that jack off to weird shit. So, just saying, if you don't want your kids being exposed to stuff, if you don't want your information being available to someone who has more nefarious purposes, keep it off the fucking internet. There's your F-bomb for the night. People. You need to look at the internet as no matter how safe, how secure you think it is, or you think you've made yourself, any given Sunday applies. You can be the best at whatever, but any given Sunday, somebody can come along and make some fluky ass button pushing and gain access, and you're fucked. You're fucked. It's that simple. So, if you do not want that information out there for someone to be able to take advantage of it, don't put it out there. It's really that simple. Oy. That is kind of creepy, though. Yeah. Cloud pets. I don't trust the whole cloud thing anyway. I keep getting all of these things of, you need to update and access the cloud. You need to do this, you need to do that. No, I don't need to do any of that. Thank you very little. So, okay. Oh, Frumpy says it more politically correct. Rub one out. I think of an eraser when I think of that. Oh, man. Yeah, there's some creepy ass people out there. So, oh, man. Let's see. What's that sock puppet? Um. No, I don't need one of those bears as a seat cushion on burrito night. Although I do have my little toy here. Where is that? Let me see if the batteries are dead. Okay. Now first I got to see if I let me turn it on. See, now you got me started. Come on. There, that's what that bear would have to deal with. So, oh, those Furbies were kind of creepy too, P. Bunyan. Just saying. Okay. Where was I? I have no idea. I'm close to the end, so yeah, I'm just about out of time. Let me see here. One more thing. Oh, let me see how long of a story this is. I threw an awful lot of stuff in my pocket this afternoon because it was like bada bing, bada boom. All of this stuff started coming. Really, really. Wow, I said that word. In any case, I started getting all these really cool links all at once. And so I thought, wow, pocket. This is from May of 2016 from electoraltakeout.org. Just going to put this out there for those of you that have children or have grandchildren or know people that have children or grandchildren or whatever. There's a study that shows that teaching kids philosophy makes them smarter. Yeah. Part of that is, when you actually interacting with your children and giving them an actual working definition of philosophizing, if you will. Children who participated in philosophy class once a week over the course of a year saw significantly higher math and literacy scores. So if you talk with your kids, and even just talk about the basics of philosophy with your kids and get into an interaction with them, you would be amazed because that teaches critical thinking skills. Do not rely on the public education system to do this for you. If you wish your children to have critical thinking skills, you need to help them develop them. That's called parenting. So, apparently there was a large, well-designed study that was conducted by the Education Endowment Foundation that suggests that, yes, teaching younger children philosophy does make them smarter. Ding! Clean up on aisle 3. 9 and 10-year-old children in England who participated in a philosophy class once a week over the course of a year significantly boosted their math and literary skills, with disadvantaged students showing the most significant gains. And do you know why? Because those children were learning to interact and think critically, which boosted, because when you're having discussions and everybody is allowed to participate in that discussion, and when you get to philosophizing is great for connecting the neural pathways. I know I used a really big term there, didn't I? Apparently, that positive effect was found to have lasted for 2 years after the philosophy class was concluded. So, in other words, don't stop. Once you start philosophizing with your children, once you start getting them critically thinking, it's like any other muscle. You must keep working it. You must exercise it in order to keep it in shape. Brain is no different than any other part. And I had a discussion with someone the other day on Facebook, Walt Patero, I think that's what his name is. Hi, Walt. by the way, where he was talking about, people complaining about having their rights taken away and all that other fun stuff. I truly do not believe your rights ever get taken away. I think you acquiesce them. I think you let them atrophy because you do not exercise them. If you are continually using your rights and exercising your rights, there is no way anyone can take them away. And I'm not saying any rights that are granted or secured or what have you in the Bill of Rights. I'm talking about natural rights. Your right to live, your right to be happy, your right to be free, those are natural rights. The right to continue breathing. So long as you're not fucking with anybody else, you have those rights. You start taking away someone else's rights and you start saying, well, I took that person's right, therefore I really don't need mine that much anymore either. That's where that whole eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth thing kind of comes in. And I don't think that's supposed to be a vengeful thing. The way I see it is, if you are willing to take someone else's life as the aggressor, just to go out and just because you can take someone else's life, then obviously that means to me that you do not value your own life either. So therefore you are volunteering to forfeit your own. That's the way I see it. If you are willing to take someone else's, then you are also willing to forfeit your own. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's my kind of twisted way of looking at that. Apparently in the program the EEF used, called Philosophy for Children, it was designed by a Professor Matthew Lipman in New Jersey in the 1970s. And in 1992, the Society for the Advancement of Philosophical Inquiry and Reflection in Education, which, wow, that would take up 2 doors, was set up in the UK to emulate that work. And P4C, or Philosophy for Children, has been adopted by schools in 60 countries. 60 countries! Are they doing that here? I doubt it very seriously. SPARRY, which is an acronym for that big old long 2-door name, that SPARRY's program does not focus on reading the text of Plato and Kant, but rather stories, poems, or film clips that prompt discussion about philosophical issues. The goal is to help children reason, formulate, and ask questions, to engage in constructive conversation, and to develop arguments, as opposed to getting all butthurt and going out and busting windows and burning shit up because I didn't get my way. Obviously, we need to do this over here in the U.S. Although Lipman's program has been widely used for decades, the present study is the best one to date that actually measures in a systematic, scientifically sound way. And accordingly, it's safe to conclude that when children are encouraged through philosophical questioning and dialogue to cultivate the mental discipline described in the previous paragraph, that has a spillover effect into more basic and conventional subjects. So yes, once you exercise one part of the brain, that also enhances the rest of it. It just makes sense. And it's cool. And you know what? If your school isn't doing that, don't expect them to, because it is the public education system after all. You are welcome, Sock Puppet. And the lovely Chloe. And it must be, it's close to that time. So thanks y'all for listening in to the Rocket Chair. And it's been a little bit of a whack-a-doodle, whacked out and twisted kind of show tonight. But hey, I truly do appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I will be back on Friday for the Freaker Friday edition of the Rocket Chair. And then I will be with Flasher Rooney, if he'll have me, on Saturday with the Dork Table. Quick little heads up. I know I'm getting to be such a slacker, but Saturday, the 11th, I won't be around for the Dork Table. Hey, Moosey, how you doing, sweetheart? Because I'm going to be taking my mom down to my brother Joey's house. So, yeah, but then I'll have like 3 or 4 weeks while I'll be able to be home. So it's just right now things are kind of hectic and kind of crazy. And the reason I have to do it that weekend is because Joey's daughter is coming up with his grandson, and I get to meet the grandson. Yay! Me and babies. That's just kind of the way it is. So, thanks again, everyone, for listening in and playing along.